Imagine having two of your best players in franchise history and doing absolutely nothing with them. Oh yeah, Detroit fans, you know this is about you. But no, today we're not talking about either of these guys. Today, we're going to dig up some old wounds for Lions fans, and for that, we got to go back to the 1990s Barry Sanders Detroit Lions. Welcome to episode 2 of What Made That Player Great, and today we're talking about Barry Sanders' sidekick, wide receiver Herman Moore. The Detroit Lions drafted Herman Moore with the 10th pick in the first round of the 1991 NFL Draft. The University of Virginia product understandably had high expectations going into his rookie season being a top 10 pick, and he didn't meet them at all. In fact, he kind of sucked. Only 11 catches and 135 yards over spotty playing time in his rookie season. Why? What happened? His coaches were confused why he wasn't produced. Well, it turns out he couldn't see. Like, actually couldn't see. You see, he forgot to tell the team that he wore contacts his entire career, and then just decided to stop for no apparent reason when he reached the NFL. What was he thinking? That's a Detroit moment. But thankfully for Lions fans, Moore and the team figured it out and got it corrected. And guess what? Seeing the football actually helps you catch passes. Who would have known? In the divisional round game against the Cowboys, Moore had 6 catches, 87 yards, and a touchdown as the Lions got their first playoff win since 1957, breaking a 35-year playoff drought. Imagine having a 30-plus year playoff drought. I'm so glad that's over. There's no way that's going to happen again. Right?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine. And you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
The Lions' playoff success would be short-lived, though, as Washington brought them back down to earth the next week with a 41-10 loss. Going to the 1992 season, Lions fans had reason to be optimistic. They had Barry Sanders, of course, in the backfield, and now Herman Moore, new and improved with eyesight. And while the season would be a step in the right direction for Moore as he finished with just under 1,000 yards, the team as a whole struggled and took a major step back, only going 5-11. Herman Moore looked to build on his sophomore season success in the 1993 season as the team looked to bounce back. And then Herman Moore got hurt and landed on injured reserve in the beginning of the season. He did manage 61 catches in 15 games with 935 yards and 6 touchdowns, though, as the Lions won the NFC Central Division title behind Barry Sanders and a much-improved defense. Brett Favre and the Packers would end that run unceremoniously, though, in the first round of the playoffs. Take 3. Third time's the charm, right? In his third season in the NFL, Herman Moore finally started to find his stride, making his first Pro Bowl as he caught 72 passes, nearly 1,200 yards receiving, and 11 touchdowns. The Green Bay Packers, though, would win the division as the Lions went 9-7. And once again, the Lions would play the Packers in the first round of the playoffs. The Packers would win the wild card game 16-12, sending the Lions home yet again. Moore would step up his game to another level in the 95 seasons, finally reaching his potential. He set an NFL record with 123 receptions that season and set a Lions franchise record with nearly 1,700 receiving yards and added 14 touchdowns as well. In Week 9, Herman Moore would score 3 touchdowns and over 140 yards against the Packers as the Lions won, and it would be another decade before another Lions receiver would have 3 touchdowns in a game. Moore and the Lions found themselves in an epic back-and-forth game on Thanksgiving against the divisional opponent Minnesota Vikings this season as well. Down 31-27 in the third quarter, Herman Moore caught a 27-yard touchdown pass from quarterback Scott Mitchell, and Detroit never lost the lead from that point on. He went on to finish the game with 127 yards and a touchdown on 8 catches. Moore and his teammate Brett Herman also set NFL history this season, becoming the first duo to both have 100 receptions in the same season. The Lions would finish 10-6 this season, but would miss out on the division title to the 11-5 Green Bay Packers. In the wild card game, this time the Lions would face the Philadelphia Eagles. In an absolutely wild game, the Lions got steamrolled 58-37. Quarterback Scott Mitchell threw 4 interceptions and left the Lions in a 51-7 hole before he left the game in the third quarter. Let's just take a minute to talk about Scott Mitchell. In the 94 season, he had a 62 quarterback rating and only completed 48% of his passes, winning only 4 of his 9 starts. And the Lions really saw that and went,
It's my quarterback.
No, that's a Detroit moment.
It's my quarterback.
Back to Herman Moore, though, who did his part in the 96 season, posting nearly 1,300 yards receiving, along with a Pro Bowl and All-Pro appearance. Despite having Barry Sanders and Herman Moore, the team kind of fell off a cliff, only going 5-11 and missing the playoffs. Terrible quarterback play haunted this team, which was sadly the story of this era for the Lions. Herman Moore would repeat his 96 performance in 97, and this time he led the league in receptions with 103. He also made his 4th straight Pro Bowl and 3rd straight All-Pro as the Lions would improve to 9-7, but plagued by more terrible quarterback play, they would only finish 3rd in the division and miss the playoffs yet again. The 1998 season was a notable step back for Herman Moore as he failed to reach 1,000 yards for the first time in 4 years. The triple-headed monster of Scott Mitchell, Frank Reich, and Charlie Batch at quarterback was just not good enough to win, even with Barry Sanders and Herman Moore. Once again, the Lions missed the playoffs, going 5-11. And then, the end came. Over his final 4 seasons, Herman Moore barely combined for 700 yards receiving as his career came grinding to a halt. Though brief, Herman Moore's stellar 4-year peak with the Lions was enough to make him the best receiver in franchise history. Well, at least until a certain monster came along. Herman Moore would finish his career with 9,174 yards, 670 receptions, 62 touchdowns, along with 4 Pro Bowls and 3 All-Pro appearances for the Lions. Yet another name lost in the quagmire of the Detroit Lions. Herman Moore overcame abysmal quarterback play at times to be a great receiver for the team. Like so many things with the Lions, we're left to wonder what could have happened if there was a better name under center for the 1990s Lions, and that is a Detroit moment. Thanks for watching this edition of What Made That Player Great. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.